Dr. Whiskers, the cat doctor.
A very unusual cat. In the cozy village of Pinebury, where the trees whispered secrets and the sun always seemed to smile, lived a fluffy white cat named Whiskers.
Whiskers wasn't like other cats. He didn't chase mice or nap all day.
He wore tiny round glasses,
Had a stethoscope made from a shoelace and 2 bottle caps, and walked around with a small first aid
kit strapped to his back. "I want to be a doctor,"
Whiskers declared one morning, standing proudly on top of the kitchen table. The other animals laughed.
"A doctor?
"You're a cat," chuckled Benny the squirrel. "But you're so small," said Lila the deer. "You'll sneeze at the sight of Peppa. How will you handle sneezes from others?" teased a parrot. But Whiskers didn't mind.
He had a dream, and dreams, when they are strong enough, make even the tiniest paws powerful.
The first patient.
Whiskers set up his very first clinic in a hollow tree trunk. He put up a sign,
Dr. Whiskers Healing Tree, all creatures welcome. He waited and waited.
Then one morning, Timmy the turtle arrived. "My shell feels itchy," Timmy said shyly.
Whiskers looked closely, cleaned the shell gently, and found a tiny patch of moss growing under it.
With care, he cleaned it up and gave Timmy some special leaf ointment.
"Thank you, Dr. Whiskers."
Timmy beamed. News spread fast. By the end of the day, he had helped a frog with hiccups, a hedgehog with a sore foot,
And even a ladybug with a bruised wing. Dr. Whiskers was in business. The forest emergency.
One stormy evening, a loud crash echoed through the forest. A huge tree had fallen near the river, and several baby animals were trapped inside a barrow.
"Help!" cried the mama rabbit.
"My babies can't breathe."
The animals panicked, but Dr. Whiskers stayed calm.
He rushed into the rain, organized a rescue team, and crawled into the tiny tunnel smaller animals followed, led by his meows and soft encouragement.
Together, they dug carefully and safely brought out every baby animal.
Whiskers checked each one, gave warm blankets, honey water, and even tiny leaf hats to keep them cozy.
The forest cheered for their little hero. Dr. Whiskers saved the day. The animal hospital grows.
Soon, animals from faraway forests came to see Dr. Whiskers. Birds flew in with hurt wings.
Bears with toothaches. Even a chameleon who had forgotten how to change colors. Whiskers opened a real animal hospital, with help from his forest friends.
Squirrels became nurses. Owls watched over patients at night. And even Benny, who once teased him, became the receptionist. The walls were decorated with poor paintings, and each patient left with a hug, a sticker, and a bag of treats. Whiskers even invented a purr therapy room, where cats would sit and purr around nervous patients. It worked wonders.
A letter from the city. One day, Whiskers received a golden envelope.
It was an invitation to the Grand Animal Doctor Conference in Big Boss City. He felt nervous,
Will they laugh at a small cat doctor?
but his friends packed his tiny doctor coat and said, "You're the best doctor we know."
At the conference, Whiskers gave a speech about treating animals with kindness and listening with the heart.
By the end, even the toughest tiger doctors wiped away tears.
Whiskers received the Golden Paw Award for compassion. Forever the forest's favorite, Dr. Whiskers returned home a hero.
But he didn't care about awards. He cared about Patch the puppy who had a cold, Mimi the mouse who lost a tooth, and Daisy the duckling who just needed a hug. Every day, he woke up, checked his patient list, tied his shoelace stethoscope, and whispered, "Let's help someone today."
And he did with a purr, a smile, and a heart big enough for the whole forest. The mystery of the sneezing birds.
It began with a faint sound, achoo, then another.
Achoo! And soon, the trees around Pinebury were echoing with the tiniest, feathery sneezes. Doctor Whiskers squinted up at the sky. A whole flock of blue robins was perched on the branches above his clinic, their little beaks twitching, eyes watery.
"Something's not right," Whiskers murmured, adjusting his shoelace stethoscope. "Birds don't usually catch colds."
Not like this. He carefully climbed a ladder with help from Benny the squirrel, who held it steady, and
Gently examined the nearest robin, a puffy little fellow named Chirpo. Chirpo gave a dramatic sneeze right onto Whiskers' glasses. "Bless you," Whiskers said, chuckling as he cleaned his lenses. After a series of tests sniffing feathers, checking temperatures with a pinecone thermometer,
and asking lots of kind questions, Whiskers discovered a pattern. All the sneezing birds had been eating shiny, red berries from the east side of the forest. "I need a sample," he said, setting off with Pip the mouse assistant by his side. Hours later, Whiskers returned with a mouthful of suspicious berries wrapped in a leaf pouch. Using a
magnifying seed and a glowing mushroom lamp, he discovered the culprit, a rare type of mold.
had grown on the berries after the last fog.
Without treatment, it could spread not just to birds, but to squirrels and mice too. Whiskers didn't panic.
Instead, he worked through the night to create a gentle herbal syrup using elderflowers, honey, and mint.
Then he and his forest team went from tree to tree, branch to branch, giving doses to every bird, even the grumpiest woodpecker.
By dawn, the sneezing had stopped. Thank you, Dr. Whiskers.
The robins chirped in chorus, showering him with feathers of gratitude.
The forest had seen a tiny doctor with a big heart stop what could have been a flying flu disaster.
Once again, whispers of awe fluttered through the leaves.
That little cat really is a real doctor. The day he almost quit.
A week had passed since the sneezing bird incident, and Dr. Whiskers had become busier than ever.
Each morning, a line of patients curled around the healing tree chipmunks with splinters, raccoons with bee stings, owls with eye strain from reading till long at night. Whiskers worked from sunrise to moonlight, skipping naps, missing lunch, and sometimes
forgetting to comb his fur, which became an absolute fluffball by evening. He was proud of his work, but also tired. One cloudy afternoon, Pip the mouse assistant ran in, panting.
"Doctor,
The porcupines are fighting again near the sunflower patch. One of them bit their own quill."
Whiskers stood up quickly and knocked over a basket of bandages. He sighed, rubbing his eyes.
"Can't someone else help for once?" Pip blinked. "But you always say let's help someone today."
Whiskers didn't respond.
He just stared at the little stitch sign above his doorway that read that exact
Phrase. It suddenly felt heavy, like a rule he was trapped in.
That night, as the rain started to fall, Whiskers sat by the window, watching droplets race down the bark. "Maybe I'm not cut out for this," he whispered. "Maybe I'm just a tired little cat pretending to be a doctor."
The forgotten mouse. The next morning, there was a knock at the clinic door, but Whiskers didn't answer. He was curled up in a pile
Of blankets, his stethoscope tossed aside.
outside. Pip stood with worry in her tiny eyes.
Behind her was a soft, wheezy voice. Is
Dr. Whiskers home?"
asked a young mouse named Nibbles. Pip turned.
"Oh, I remember you.
"You came last week for your checkup." Nibbles nodded weakly. "He told me to come back, but I guess he's too busy." Pip looked up at the door.
No, it's not that.
"He's just tired, really tired." Nibbles gave a tiny cough.
My chest hurts, and I can't eat cheese anymore."
"Not even the soft kind."
That did it.
Pip's ears twitched. She marched into the clinic, pulled open the blanket pile, and shouted.
"Whiskers, you have a patient, and he's scared, and he needs you." Whiskers groaned.
"But I'm tired."
"What if I make a mistake?"
Pip climbed up to his nose and tapped it. "You're allowed to rest, but this little mouse has no one else. You don't need to be perfect."
"You just need to care." Silence.
Then, slowly, the blankets shifted. A paw reached out.
Then another.
And finally, Whiskers stood up, his fur wild, his eyes tired, but something inside him awake.
He gently carried Nibbles in, warmed him up, listened to his chest, and treated a tiny lung infection that had nearly gone unnoticed. Nibbles curled into his paw, sleepy but smiling. "Thank you, Dr. Whiskers." And for the first time in days, Whiskers smiled back, not because he was strong, but because he had remembered why he started.
A lesson in listening. That evening, Whiskers closed early. He sat with Pip under the glowing firefly lanterns and shared a cup of acorn tea.
"I think," Whiskers said softly, "I forgot something important." "What's that?" Pip asked.
"That it's okay to rest, that I can't help everyone if I don't help myself too."
And that being a doctor isn't
About fixing things.
It's about being there when someone needs you.
Pip nodded.
And eating cheese sometimes. Whiskers laughed. Yes, definitely that.
He looked up at the stars poking through the clouds. "Tomorrow, I'll help someone again. But tonight, I'll be kind to me."